Nick, thank you for coming through. Mate, can you explain to us what the role of a buyer's agent is in Queensland?
Well, thanks, Remy. Look, there's a lot of different roles that we play, I guess, into the search for an investor, owner, occupier. But predominantly, it's about minimizing risk for the client and actually finding an asset that will outperform, be it a first home or a downsizer or an investor. The idea is always to outperform the market with the property that you do buy.
Yep.
And also, I guess the other thing is coming with a different level of perspective into the search as well. It's a little bit, I guess, you got to understand that it's not just going through a property and making sure that the property meets your personal requirements, but why is that property really the property that you should be buying is actually the number one question.
There's a lot more to it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you deal with people mostly looking for the dream home, or do you deal with people mostly looking for development opportunities, rentals? What's your main area?
Yeah, look, I definitely help everybody across the spectrum, but predominantly investors, local investors, interstate investors, downsizers, first-home buyers, and obviously subdivision clients as well, people that are looking at trying to manufacture a little bit of additional wealth through doing a development, be it or one into two or 1 into 3 development.
Yeah, so a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, yes.
In your opinion, what are the biggest challenges that buyers face? When purchasing any property?
Look, I think the biggest one is probably not doing enough due diligence. There's a level of emotion that comes to play when you're buying a property, and you forgo some of those important due diligence requirement that is essential to actually when you are buying a property. So making sure that you have somebody on your side, like the vendor has obviously a sales agent on their side, so you as a buyer have somebody on your side to protect you and not to make those mistakes that many investors do, and it stops them from going from one property to the next because they've done it wrong. Or they got the wrong property.
Yeah. So do you think emotions can be good in a way, but also risky?
Definitely. Yeah. Look, my job is to remove the emotion from the equation.
Yeah.
Obviously, more from the sales side of things is you want to buy to pay emotionally because they end up paying a little bit more. But from the buying side, for me, is about removing the emotion and putting logic in it and the reasons why you're acquiring that property. Be it something that you want to live in and be a family home, but also a development side. Have you done every due diligence behind that to actually make it stack up?
Yeah.
Or alternatively, just an investment property? Does it fit into your portfolio of what you're trying to achieve?
And your maybe 5, 10 very long-term goals as well.
Yeah.
Another question I have for you is, do a lot of your clients, buyers, come to you because they've heard about you and they think it's great from the get-go, or did they maybe, they've been spending a year looking for a property, they missed out so many times, they don't know why they're missing out, and they need your help? What do you think?
Definitely. Look, I'll work with a lot of referral clients, obviously from people that I've dealt with in the past or family and friends referring me on. But I think there is a level of clients that I deal with as well that have been constantly missing out on properties on market, or alternatively, they're a little bit scared of where to start, especially when it comes to investing in property. And so what they do, they come to us or they come to me and then ask me, where do I start and what is the best areas to buy in, and I guess start the conversation from there.
Yeah, okay. So do you give them, do you stay away or do you give them financial advice? Because obviously that's the tricky.
Definitely no financial advice.
Very good.
Anything that we offer is just obviously, it's a level of perspective in terms of why you're selecting properties. It's not to do with finance or anything to do with, I guess, a financial background, because we're not qualified to give that advice.
Yeah, of course. Another question, mate, is obviously you're helping buyers, buy properties on every single day, and that means that you're dealing with sales agents every single day. A bit of a question for you: what does make the difference for you when you're dealing with, what you'll say, a good real estate agent or someone who isn't maybe quite at that level? What's the biggest difference for you?
Look, there's two components to it, I think. One is obviously having strong relationship with agents. It puts you in a position that you can have open discussions with the agent about what is actually going to do the deal. But in the sense, it's not always price. A lot of people think you always end up purchasing a property purely on price. Seller's expectations sometimes might be rent back, so there might be a lot of different reasons why a seller is selling, and having a good conversation with the agent about that that. It's what actually is going to obviously make sure that we secure the property for our client.
Yep.
But I think the other aspect of it is as well is by being in the industry, by knowing how to talk to agents as well. There is agents that I know that I can push a little bit more than others. Maybe the ones that have a little bit less experience there, or maybe the ones that are not local agents as well. So there is levels of understanding. Who can you push? Who can't you push?
Mhm.
And why is it truly? What is the real reason a seller is selling as well? And how can we use conditions not to pay the top price?
Yeah, for sure. So you think that obviously one of your clients may engage you because you do have many relationships. You know, you've been here for a long time, and well, not that long. You're very young, obviously, but you've been here long enough to have many relationships with sales agent, and that gives you a massive point of difference because they're dealing with them, you know, just like a new buyer where you've been dealing with them for years, and maybe you've done deals with them before. So that gives you a point of difference.
Definitely, and obviously bringing in off-market, pre-market opportunities. That's another level of what we bring to a client as well. Not everything that transact in Queensland, in Brisbane, or obviously in Australia is on realestate.com. So having
Yep.
exposure to those off-market opportunities or pre-market opportunities is also
Yep.
really important.
So at the moment, there is a very large lack of stock for sales in the area, in Brisbane overall. Do we wait until the truck? Sorry.
It should be fine. We have pretty good.
Should be fine. All right.
Production,
All right, I'll keep going. So at the moment, one of the bigger things that I hear every day with homeowners, sellers, is they want to move, but as you know, there's very little on the market. I think in Carina alone, we're minus 25 to 30% in stock, which is a lot of properties that are not going to market. But also the rental market is very tricky to navigate. So when you have people who are thinking of selling, but of buying, they are always wondering, okay, do we sell first or do we buy first? So if you have a client, let's say that they really want to buy a property, you want to help them out, but they need to sell their home first, what would you recommend to do first?
Look, it is hard because it is obviously you need to probably dig into a little bit more into the client's uniqueness or circumstances, unique circumstances. But I think the other thing is the number one thing to remember is as long as you buy and sell in the same market, you'll be fine. In terms of what comes first, look, I would usually say make sure you sell first, and then we can use conditions to maybe delay settlement, etc. But make sure you sell first because at least that way, especially if you're more restricted by finance or restricted by money, it gives you an understanding of how much money you've got to play with as well when you do buy. But look, there is circumstances that obviously can actually play out the other way.
So and that's the sort of advice I've been giving to a lot of homeowners, obviously, because they keep missing out. And the other agents on the other side are telling them it's the price. But I don't always believe that. I also think that having a subject to sell offer is probably the least strong, least attractive condition you can have on a contract. So that being told it's the price, but they need to pay a massive premium for a vendor to accept that. So I think you're right, putting people in a position where they know exactly where they stand, because then you go from being a subject to sell buyer to very close to very short finance or almost a cash buy in some cases. So but then you can do long settlements or anything like that. So
and I think it's about having somebody on your side, even when you do sell a property. Look, one of my role is obviously as a buyer's agent, but also as a vendor advocate as well. So we can help you and understand if you do need to sell to buy, how can we help you with conditions that we can put you in a position to sell first, but you don't have to move out of that property. There could be the option of you sell the property that you live in, you do a rent back. So you do a lease for 6 months.
We've got one at the moment until early November.
Definitely. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to protect yourself and to put you in the best position. It's sometimes about having the right people around you to actually run those ideas past.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, a very important question in a current climate. How long have you been in real estate?
Coming close to 17 years.
Yeah, wow. And then most of these years were as a sales agent, right?
Correct, yes.
So you've seen very different types of markets. Big question for you. At the moment, we're finding that prices are still going up every month. It's not a high growth rate like last year, but it is quite healthy. They're definitely not dropping. the stock is low, interest rates are high, inflation is high. So why is the market performing so well despite the current economy?
There's a lot of different factors, I think, personally. Look, migration. Obviously, we have a lot of people coming into Queensland, into Brisbane, from internationally, but also obviously from down south in Melbourne and Sydney as well. And I think the other factor is obviously we do have the Olympics. I don't think the Olympics as such in 2032 are going to be it's not the destination that we're getting to, but what it is the jobs that it's creating pre the Olympics. So those people that are actually coming up here for those work opportunities need housing, and that's another reason why rents are so strong, or are going to be even stronger, I think, in the years to come as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, look, one of the other reasons is Brisbane has underperformed for a while compared to Melbourne and Sydney. So we're just catching up now. We're getting in a market where it's more equal to what down south they've had for a longer period of time. And I think, look, the infrastructure, the projects that Brisbane has, again, it's just all different levels of becoming a major city, a major capital city in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. Queen Wharf. I mean, obviously the whole underground, and it's amazing. We've got a second airport, like second runway now, international, which is awesome. So I completely agree with that. So I had a question. We've over the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of buyers that I've seen in the marketplace for over 2 years, and they still haven't bought. Like, I'll give you an idea. We met a lady last week, and my colleague Stacey recognized her. I didn't. She's like, I've dealt with her over 2 years ago, and she was hesitating paying $600,000 for a 3-bedroom townhouse that was brand new, and now we're looking at like a 2-bedroom, 15 years old townhouse for $650,000, for example. This lady's obviously missed out on a lot of opportunities in the past 2 years, and maybe it's a bit of procrastination or missed out on many reasons. What advice do you give to buyers in any type of market for this not to happen too many times? Because if she bought 2 years ago, she would have made an extra 250 grand. That's a lot of money. How do you manage that? But what if the market goes down? Those feelings from buyers.
Yeah, look, I said I've been in the industry for 17 years, and I think it's for the last 17 years I've always heard people say, "Oh, well, I'm just going to wait for the market to crash," and the market has never really crashed in 17 years. So why will it this year, next year, or the year after? I think that the thing is, some people are afraid to pull the trigger in terms of securing that property. They're afraid of overpaying for that property. They're afraid for change of circumstances. What if? The thing is, that is why having a buyer's agent on your side helps you navigate through those questions that you might have and put you in a position to be confident in the decision you're making. Look, one of the things I say to my clients all the time, I'm not here to make the decision for you. I'm here to provide you all the information that you do need to be comfortable and confident in the decision that you're making. A little bit of advice, of quality advice from somebody that has been in your shoes as well. I think that's also very important. There's a lot of buyer's agents out there that have never bought a property or have never bought an investment property in their lifetime before. So dealing with somebody, and there's a lot of quality buyer's agents out there as well, but dealing with someone that has been in your shoes, that has multiple times, both from the buyer perspective, but also from a seller's perspective.
And so you've made mistakes, good investment, and bad ones, and you know how to hopefully not repeat those mistakes.
Exactly. So it's about having confidence in who you get the advice from. But I think going back to the question is you can spend too much time doing research because you're not looking in the right places.
Yeah. Do you think the media has an effect on buyers' emotions? And
sure.
I always say, hope is not a strategy. I hope that someone's going to call me and give me 10 houses to sell today. Well, I have to go get them. You know what I mean? So for buyers, I hope the market's going to crash in 3 months or 6 months. And I hear a lot of first-home buyers, for example, where their parents are telling them, well, wait, it's going to crash, and they're still here 2 years later.
For sure.
Do you think the media and the way we see everything online has an effect on those choices and decisions?
100%.
Yeah.
Look, the media in itself doesn't really portray live and accurate information. It is delayed, and it also is influenced by themselves. You know what I mean? It's like one of the big things with the media is they love good headlines because that's what's going to sell papers. That's one of magazines
More
or
views.
obviously reviews, etc. So what you need to do is you need to understand and get your information from trusted sources, not from the media themselves.
Yeah, fair enough. Any bit of advice for any buyers out there apart from contacting you ASAP?
I think the big one is don't procrastinate.
Yeah.
The best time to buy a property obviously was yesterday, but today is the next best time to buy. Don't delay. Look, I love helping first-time buyers, young buyers into the market, and the reason is because it is one of the best decisions you'll make in life, as long as you get it right, and you need somebody to help you to get that decision right.
A little bit of final question, mate. Sorry. What's your view for the market in the next 6 to 12 months?
Look, obviously, we've gone through 2 or 3 years of obviously once in a lifetime, once in a generation type of boom. But I think moving forward, it's going to be
which was overdue.
Which was overdue. But I think now we're going to have up and down. Like we're going back to a normal market. Interest rates are going to play a little bit of influence to that as well. Maybe look at when the buffer rate from 3% might be reduced to 2%. If that is going to happen, obviously that's going to help people be able to afford to borrow a little bit more, and obviously it's going to help the market in terms of growth as well. But I think, look, we're going to have a steady period moving forward.
Steady market.
Steady market.
Okay, great. So not a bad place to be selling, not a bad place to be buying real estate. Get in the market as soon as possible, because yourself in a few years you'll be very thankful you did that.
For sure, definitely.
Thanks, mate. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Okay.
Was it good?
Well done, guys.
That was my first one ever.